one of Israel's most wanted fugitives, and 7 others are expected back in the Randburg Magistrate's Court today. Yaniv Yossi Ben Simon and his co-accused were nabbed in a raid in Bryanston just last week.
So he's been on Interpol's red notice since 2015 in connection with numerous crimes, including murder and attempted murder, kidnapping as well, and that happened in his native country of Israel. Newzroom Afrika's Tumaole Mohlaoli is outside court. He joins us live for an update this morning. It was a television sort of Hollywood-style raid that unfolded at his, I believe it was his Bryanston home in Johannesburg. Tumaole, give us a sense first of, the investigations that would have unfolded that led to his arrest.
Well, very good morning, Michelle. In terms of the investigations that led to his arrest, it was a multidisciplinary team that involved the members of the South African police as well as Interpol. And that team had been staking out this property and had been tracking this fugitive, Ben Simon, for quite a number of months, if not weeks, in the build-up to that high-profile arrest. And they had been watching that property in Bryanston, which, of course, Ben Simon and his accomplices had bought just a few months prior to that particular bust. We are told that what had alerted police to that particular activity were 2 things in particular. One is that the neighbors were quite interested in the fact that once the property was bought, it's not just one property, it's a bunch of properties on a block on a corner, which were then converted into one property. Walls went up very quickly, high walls. Of course, that particular part of the walls is quite plush, and the walls, they are quite high in general, and security is tight. We have security fences, etc. But these ones were extremely high, and the amount of traffic that was going in and out. Of course, the thing that also gave authorities an indication of what was going on there in terms of the tip-offs, in terms of observations, was that the local shopping center, especially particularly the Discam, had reported that there were quite a large number of purchases from a single address that they were delivering, and people were coming to collect of other drugs, including medications. And they thought this was quite interesting, that this one address would be continuously getting these particular substances. So that's something that also piqued the officers' interest. So this was something that had led to this investigation, but they had been monitoring and of course surveilling that particular property, including the use of drones, and that after a while then made them convinced that they were at the right place, and then they pounced and they seized, among other things, I'm looking at the police statement here, 3 kilograms of drugs, these suspects, 8 of them, including Ben Simon and his 7 accomplices, will be facing charges including possession of drugs, being in possession of unlicensed and prohibited firearms, a large cache of firearms and ammunition. Illegal ammunition was found on the property, along with vehicles, including motorbikes, and then 19 firearms in totals, including 2 AK-47s were seized at the house, and being in possession of stolen property. 3 of the 6 motorbikes that were found on the property were positively identified to have been stolen. Other charges may be added, including contravention of Electronic Communications Act. This would speak to the fact that jamming devices were found on the property, as well as a vehicle which was modified, and what authorities believe is that it was modified to be a sniping vehicle or a torture chamber, because it had soundproofing in it, and it had a viewing cubicle cut out of the side, and officers believe that's where, of course, the high caliber weapons could be stuck out, and people could be shot out of. So these are some of the charges they will be facing, and some of the contraband that was found there, along, of course, with a large, substantial cache of money. We will then wait to find out how the extradition process will play out in court, because we were told during their initial appearance, when they were charged here at the Randburg Magistrate's Court, that, of course, Interpol will be looking to have them extradited, especially Ben Simon, not them, extradited on that Interpol red notice back to his native Israel, where he is sought on very serious charges.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, this arrest and the arrest of Ben Simon and these 7 others touted as a breakthrough in cracking open an international drug trafficking syndicate. Tumaole Mohlaoli, live to us there at the Randburg Magistrate's Court as those extradition hearings get underway.